Well, we've got heat and humidity and thunderstorms and a heat wave all on the way for next week. We've got some severe weather going on tonight in parts of the Ohio Valley. And we also have what's left of some shower and thunderstorm activity that is overhead in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. So let's get started tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast very easily by shopping our referral link to Amazon. The link is on the descriptor to this podcast. And when I get a chance, I'll post it and pin it up to the top of the chat board. All you got to do is search and shop and get your stuff. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you one extra cent. It keeps the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, the live version of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, commercial free, and also brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is also on the descriptor to this podcast. And if you purchase a weather station from Tempest, use the coupon code available only to those of you who watch the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. It's summer 2025. And if you use it, you will get
10, count them, 10% off.
Yes, indeed. So, yes. So, there's some hotter temperatures on the way for tomorrow, and the transition, you're dealing with that this evening. And there was, I guess, enough of a marine layer still left around that some of the thunderstorms that formed just kind of didn't really do all that much from what I saw.
We had some rumbles of thunder. Actually, to tell you the truth, Joe, we had more rain pass by here in the wee small hours, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning here in Putnam Valley, and we picked up a quickie 0.2 of an inch. And even though the sky got very ominous during the mid and late afternoon, and I did hear a couple of cracks of loud thunder, didn't get much of anything. So really, the worst of it was this morning. Now, right now, the radar seems to show that there are showers right overhead or in our general vicinity. I really don't see, looking out the window, all that much happening right now. But even if we do pick up something, it probably will only add a little to what we picked up this morning. The real heavy artillery is expected here later tomorrow and tomorrow evening, as a front moves in, brings us the possibility of not just thunderstorms, but maybe some strong to severe thunderstorm activity.
Yeah, and David Scott pointing out that on the south shore of Long Island today, the fog persisted for a good chunk of the day. That's the marine layer that's just kind of being very stubborn, but that should be out of the way tomorrow because the wind is going to be west-southwest ahead of the weather front, and any sea breeze action tomorrow is probably going to be confined to the immediate beaches. So we'll see how the thunderstorms deal with that because in the ocean water temperatures are still cool enough that if you get any kind of a marine influence, they'll tend to weaken once they get out of Nassau County, let's put it that way. In the meantime, here today, we had about the same idea here. We had a few rumbles of thunder intermixed with a good deal of sunshine and temperatures that made it up into the lower 80s. So it wasn't too bad. We had some big thunderstorms go by just to my north early this evening, and there's the radar's still got some stuff on it, but there's not really a whole lot happening. And everything also seems to be on course. It kind of looks like Sunday is going to be the first day where more areas than not get to 90 degrees, and then the real heat gets turned on for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week.
And it looks like, interestingly, on Sunday, there's going to be some kind of I don't know, might it be a mesoscale convective complex or something? It looks like something it looks like something is going to be dropping straight down from the north and northwest toward the tri-state area, and it would seem that the activity will still be held together somewhat, but the worst of it will be to the north and west, and as it moves into and through the tri-state area, first thing Sunday morning, whatever shower activity is occurring will be rapidly weakening. And once that moves on through in the morning, the sun comes out in the afternoon, and it looks like, as you just pointed out, Joe, the heat and humidity build in and will be with us probably from later Sunday through Monday. Tuesday looks like to be the peak day with temperatures quite possibly hitting the triple digits in
Right.
many localities. And then maybe not quite so hot, but still very hot for Wednesday and on into Thursday. I think Thursday will be the final day of this because, as we'll talk about in a few moments, there looks to be a kind of a weak ripple in the atmosphere that may send a cold front our way from the north for later Thursday and Thursday night with a few showers and maybe some cooler weather, somewhat cooler weather for Friday and the following weekend.
Joe Cecilia Hernandez on the chat board says her grandchildren are asking what a mesoscale convective complex is. Now, you might want to, Cecilia, they should ask you for ice cream first and then ask you what a convective mesoscale convective complex is.
And they don't even call it that anymore, do they? When we were back in the day, it was called an MCC. Now I think it's something else, MCS or mesoscale convective system.
Convective, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
MCS as opposed to an MCC. Why they changed it, I don't know. But basically, what it is they are also often referred to as derechos, which are a line of thunderstorms that forms and basically maintains its strength over sometimes like 1,000 miles. Uh, it's remarkable how when these complexes mesoscale meaning small scale and the convective complex, it's structured in such a way that it is able to hold on to its strength as it moves along. And when you see them, oftentimes, we've seen them where they start out in the upper Midwest and hold together for 24 hours or longer, and then wind up finding their way into the east or any direction you'd like to take them, northwest to southeast, north to south, west to east. That yeah, they derecho. I don't know. It's kind of. I guess it's just sounds. It sounds much more
Sinister.
upstanding when you say a mesoscale convective complex. Oh my
Right.
God! I've caught a mesoscale convective complex. It's on my elbow. I can't get it off. Oh, the humanity!
It's too well. The last word in that in the three-word complex. I'm sure that some media consultant said, "Can you come up with something more catchy?" Because it sounds like a complex term that most people probably will not be able to understand. So somebody must have said, "Well, how about derecho?" Hey, that's great, derecho. We'll call it that, and that's basically the start. Basically, just think of it this way: a small, complex, kind of like a meteorological bowling ball of thunderstorm activity, which literally rolls across the country. As Joe said, it can roll for 500 or 1,000 miles unimpeded in strength and energy. And finally, when it arrives in your vicinity, it could cause quite a bit of damage in terms of gusty winds and maybe even spawn damaging winds and maybe even a tornado or two. And we're looking for that tomorrow, not in a derecho, but maybe a squall line or a bow line, if you will, a line of showers and storms that, because it's being pushed so rapidly, it seems to bend in like a bow
Right,
wave.
a bow
And in
almost.
fact, you mentioned the marine layer, Joe. What little there will be of it. And the thing is that when you have a setup like tomorrow, just from sheer momentum, these thunderstorms, they're moving so quickly in from the west that from sheer momentum, even when they reach the coast, and even if they do hit a marine layer, it's moving so quickly it doesn't have time to wind down completely, and it still has a goodly amount of its uh, momentum and continues to have a lot of strength to it to cause a lot of damage, even when it moves into a place like Long Island or southern Connecticut. So that's the kind of setup that we're looking for tomorrow, and we'll see how that all pans out. I did notice, by the way, on this morning's 12Z NAM FOOS, the North American model, the tabular model, which gives you numbers. It's not a chart, it gives you numbers. Generally speaking, if you're looking for a big or a severe round of thunderstorm activity, the so-called lifted index value should be at -5. And I noticed, Joe, that at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for LaGuardia, the lifted index was -8. So that right there tells you that whatever storms that hit tomorrow, especially in the afternoon or early evening, do have the potential to have quite a wallop, quite a punch to it. And that's why we're in the at least a slight chance of severe. And who knows, maybe tomorrow, after assessing everything, maybe not necessarily in the morning, but maybe by midday, SPC will include within that slight area, and it is a very large area of slight. Joe will show it to you, I'm sure, in a moment. But they may even have a little area of enhanced because of the potential threat for thunderstorm activity tomorrow.
Daniel Platt, yes, you are correct. Mesoscale, as defined in the Oxford languages, an intermediate scale, especially that between the scales of weather systems and of microclimates on which storms or other phenomena occur. So usually, when we look at mesoscale events, we're looking at thunderstorms that occur that don't really cover a large area, as opposed to a large cyclone, a low pressure area, and that kind of thing. That's the big stuff. Mesoscale is the smaller stuff, lying somewhere, I guess, in the middle. That's the literal translation of it. So there you
And I
go.
like and I like Rich Rothmansky on the chat board. I love his comment here. Derecho sounds like a pharmaceutical company's new medicine. And you think about it, I was thinking about this the other day, Joe. If it were possible to go back in time 30 or 40 years, can you imagine what people from, let's say, 40 years ago when they watch TV today, or the especially the national news, where they have all of these pharmaceutical, things like, for your head, your heart, your state of mind, or whatever, and these short names, just like what Rich Rotmansky mentions that the retro sounds like. We didn't have that like 30, 40 years ago.
No,
We had
and the commercials that go in it where everybody is happy. They're skiing, they're surfing, they're dancing, they're
yeah,
you know yeah, okay. Exactly.
and now they're using, and now in order to describe some dysfunctions, they're actually using analogies like bent carrots.
Oh, good God. On that particular note, we shall say hi to everybody on the chat board tonight. Sorry for the late start. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the occasional Friday and Saturday when there are some storms around, and we're not going to be around this Friday and Saturday. So subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. If you like the show, please, by all means, hit the like button. Would you like to do radars tonight, Mr. Rayo?
Oh, sure.
All right, I'll go through the watches and warnings real quick, and then you got the shares on, so you can just kind of have the screen up and ready to go. In the meantime, as we check those watches and warnings that are in effect at the moment, we're looking at a pretty large area of red across Minnesota, South Dakota, Iowa, the whole state of Iowa into Nebraska. So that red, I believe, is an excessive heat watch. Um, Extreme heat watch. Okay, I'm sorry, an extreme heat watch. They got so many of these watches and warnings and advisories, it's very hard to keep up these days. We also have various heat advisories up in that general area as well. We have heat advisories up for central and eastern Mass and much of the state of Connecticut. Just going to take a look at the New York area here. We've got some air quality alerts. I always like when they've got the heat advisory up for one county, and then when you but no, the county right next to that doesn't have a heat advisory. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit too critical about these things. We also have heated advisories, and this is because the area here from Wilmington to Philadelphia to Trenton is very urban. So that kind of makes sense to me that these counties surrounding Philadelphia have heat advisories in effect for tomorrow. And as we also check out the severe thunderstorm watches and the tornado watches that are up in the Ohio Valley, central and eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western West Virginia, central and eastern Kentucky, all a bit under the gun tonight. Actually, the radar there is quite busy, and excessive heat warnings up in all of the state of Nevada, just about all of Utah, southern Arizona, and a few counties in southern California. And here's the uh, satellite loop with the lightning strikes, and there's a really sharp looking line of lightning strikes here going on from western Ohio. Now, the last frame on this is actually it's an hour old. Let me give it a quick refresh. See where the last frame is. So the last frame is from 8:30. Okay, so that's reasonably recent since it is now 8:46, so 15 minutes ago. And I mean, a very impressive line here, which Joe will be checking out in the radar. Some waning lightning strikes from some thunderstorms that formed over Maryland and Delaware and moved into southern New Jersey. Those are just about gone, but there's still some stuff left on the radar. And we've got some lightning strikes that are going on along the just inland of the Gulf Coast and into southeastern Georgia and into parts of South Carolina. But Joe can show it all on some of the local radars tonight.
Right. In fact, what I'm doing right now, Joe, is on your cue, I decided I would show everybody first the close-up view of the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley GOES 16 lightning strike animation. And boy, I tell you, look at that. All the way from right around the Detroit area, then cutting down across the middle of Ohio. Actually, not so bad looking in Ohio. There are a few storms, but really from southwestern Ohio and then across into northern and western sections of Kentucky. Look at that line. Look at that. Now, I'm wondering whether or not Renata's cousin Maria, who watches us in Rush, Kentucky. Cousin Maria, if you're out there, you've got the alert right now. She's located, Joe, right about here. So I would suspect that within the next hour to 90 minutes, let's say anytime between 9:45 to 10 o'clock, if this line holds forth and continues at the same strength that it is now, it's gonna be a pretty significant event for her. And let's hope that it's not an event that provides anything along the lines of damaging winds or even spawning a tornado. But this is a very, very significant line that you see right now crossing Kentucky. If I can take that off right now, and let's go to the local radars, which I'm going to do right now.
While you're getting that, just to point out, because we have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings up in Ohio at the moment. There's actually 27 of 27 warnings. 21 of them are severe thunderstorm, 2 are tornado, 4 are special marine warnings. And if you want to break it down by state, 1 in Arkansas, 2 in Georgia, 2 in Kentucky, 1 in Michigan, 10 in Ohio, 3 in Oklahoma, 2 in Pennsylvania, 3 in Tennessee, and 2 in Texas.
All right. Well, I'm surprised they don't have more warnings up right now for Kentucky because, my goodness, look at that line. And you can see how it develops. This is a 3-hour loop. So when the loop begins let me just see when it begins here, 21:55. So when it began just a few minutes before 6 o'clock, it really didn't show very much. But look how that line has dramatically intensified over the coming or over the next 3 hours on the loop here. And again, that's the line that extends from southwestern Ohio right down through northern and western sections of Kentucky. And this line certainly has the potential to bring damaging winds and maybe even a tornado or two, along with, of course, drenching downpours, vivid and dangerous lightning, and quite possibly even some small hail as well. If we continue southward and westward from there, this is Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and you can see how the line extends from Fort Campbell south and west into a portion of western Tennessee. It seems like the line kind of peters out a bit once you get down into west central Tennessee. So why don't we just move northeastward along that line? Let's go up to, oh my goodness, Wilmington, Ohio. Look at that line. Look at that line as it's approaching now the Wilmington, Ohio area. And again, this is a narrow, albeit very rapid moving and very potent line of showers and embedded thunderstorms. It looks like the areas of red, the most fierce region of thunderstorms, is now actually beginning to diminish a little bit as it crosses through Ohio. But make no mistake about it, this is a very potent area of showers and storms, which again is moving rapidly to the east. And this is the line that I presume is going to have an influence on our weather here in the northeastern United States come tomorrow in the afternoon and evening. So we're getting I guess you could say, a sneak preview, a coming attraction of what's headed our way as we move into the next 24 hours. Let's go up to Detroit. I said that one area seemingly was moving over the Detroit area. Here's Detroit, DTW, and you can see that line moving in. It looks like it's diminishing just as it's reaching the Motor City. And again, when I mentioned about bow wave shape, you can see how the area of showers and storms seems to push forward, if you will, like the bow of an arrow. Bow and arrow, you can see how how it arcs to the north and east. But again, now that the sun has gone down, we're looking now at the diurnal convection, the convection associated with the heat of the late afternoon sun. Now, as we're moving under the cover of darkness, these showers and storms will gradually diminish, gradually peter out in the coming hours. But again, as it is right now, they all have some fairly potent strength to them still. Let's look at the New York City radar, and you can see that there's like a couple of isolated red blips here in parts of the lower Hudson Valley, and you can see a couple of showers. Again, these are beginning to diminish some. I think we'll probably be done with these no later than midnight tonight, if not sooner. Skies will clear a bit later tonight, and then for tomorrow sets the stage for a very warm, humid day, and that will only serve to help to build up the showers and storms or help to rebuild them, if you will, that are coming in from the west, from the Ohio Valley, as they move into our neck of the woods late tomorrow and into tomorrow evening. Anywhere else you want to go, Joe? Or
No, I think that about covers it. I think.
oh, all right.
All right. I got the wide. I just want to bring up the wide radar view for just a moment because this is all being driven by a well-defined rotation. I mean, it doesn't really take much to see this, but you got that comma shape. Anytime almost always when you see something of magnitude that's shaped like a comma, it's telling you that the atmosphere's got a pretty big headache, and it's being, of course, expressed with all these severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, virtually every county that's along that line of storms is under a severe thunderstorm warning from southeastern Michigan through Ohio down into Kentucky, with just a couple of minor exceptions here and there. It's about as continuous a line as you'll see, and to have all these severe thunderstorm warnings lined up from from the southern end to the northern end of it's really pretty impressive. And the only other thing I'd mention is there are some thunderstorms in central Pennsylvania going on. We have two severe thunderstorm warnings, actually one that kind of comes and goes really fast. The other one further to the south along I-80, probably to the southwest of Williamsport, and some flash flood warnings that were left behind in all of that mess. And it is moving toward the east. We'll see how well that holds together during the overnight. The Storm Prediction Center, we've got a waning tornado watch in Kentucky into eastern Indiana, western Ohio. And then we have a severe thunderstorm watch that is up in Ohio and extends up into southeastern Michigan. The area was from yesterday, they had an enhanced risk there. And I mean, obviously, as these storms move along, SPC updates the map and kind of shrinks that area down, but it's still showing some an enhanced area there in Indiana and Ohio. But again, the line's already passed through Indiana, so it's done there for the most part. And also, well, we have had a marginal to slight risk. They actually made it a slight risk for central and south Jersey, southeast Pennsylvania, down into eastern Maryland, Delaware, and northeast Virginia. There was a severe thunderstorm watch up there for that area earlier. That has since expired. Now, tomorrow, no changes yet in the forecast, really. They did kind of push the slight risk up into western Maine earlier today. They cut back on it slightly, but you can see that the slight risk runs from northwestern New England and upstate New York all the way south into North Carolina. Marginal risks on either side. A big area of marginal risk in the northern plains to the western Great Lakes, and even extending down into parts of the central plains tomorrow. And we do have a 2% tornado risk. So an isolated tornado or two could spin up tomorrow in that slight risk zone, mainly from northern Virginia on up into northern New England. And then day 3, which is Friday into Saturday morning, the risk shifts to North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. Not showing too much. We're kind of on the edge of general thunderstorms with a better chance of that happening as you go north and northwest of the coast. If you go east and south, nothing is being forecast as far as thunderstorms until you get down into eastern North Carolina and then down into Georgia, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and across the Gulf states. And as for rain over the next 7 days, there really isn't going to be much. We're talking a quarter of an inch or less in much of the Northeast, except for northern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, where we start to get into half an inch to some areas as much as an inch to an inch and a half. And of course, it's convective, so local areas could wind up seeing amounts that are 50% or more higher than that. Also picking up on up to a few inches of rain from eastern Nebraska northeastward into Wisconsin. In the Gulf states and in the southeast, it's mainly a quarter of an inch to some areas getting a half to 3/4. And then you see this tongue of moisture up through Mexico. That is from Hurricane Erick in the Pacific. That probably will get to major hurricane status before it makes landfall on the Mexican coast, pretty far south. But the moisture is going to be dragged northward through Mexico and eventually wind up in New Mexico, where we've got an inch and a half to 2.5 inches of precipitation being indicated. So, since I mentioned it, let's take a look at what the Hurricane Center is doing here with Erick. Here we go. So there's actually sent a Hurricane Hunter out there, Joe, and Erick is now a major hurricane. Maximum sustained winds 120 miles an hour. It's at 14.9 and 96.1 west. I'm sorry, 96.7 west. And it's moving northwest at 9. Just kind of not quite parallel to the south coast of Mexico, but close enough. And then it makes landfall. It's not crossing over to the other side in the Gulf of Mexico. It's moving northwestward all the way through. So all of that moisture is going to get dragged northward eventually, as WPC has it, where it goes up through Mexico and then heads up into Texas. Joe, they've had 5 named storms already in the Pacific. So the Pacific is off to a fast start. And usually that is a telltale sign when the Pacific is busy, the Atlantic is quiet. So last year the Pacific did not really get underway to the extent that it has gotten underway this very young hurricane season.
Usually, and I came across this on Facebook Memories today. A few years ago, we were already up at this point in time to the sea storm in the Atlantic Ocean, and it said in this summation that I had typed out that normally the C storm in the Atlantic does not occur until the 18th of July. So you could see that, it has been very quiet. We have not had anything yet in the Atlantic, nothing yet for possibly loaning a name to or a letter to yet. So, but that's as I said before, in many cases that's irrelevant in terms of what kind of a hurricane season we will have in the United States. As I mentioned before, in 1992, the very first storm of the year, the very first named storm, didn't happen until uh, late August, like around the 27th, 28th of August, and yet that storm became a memorable storm, Andrew, and ripped through central Florida and eventually made landfall along the Gulf Coast. Up until then, no hurricanes. Maybe a few people were saying, "Hey, well, maybe it might be no problems this year in terms of storm." One storm, that's all you need. It doesn't really matter if it happens in June, July, August, or even September. All you need is one major storm to make landfall along a populated area in the United States, and away you go. So quiet now. We'll see what happens as we get into July and August, and especially so into September.
So I brought up the European with regards to tomorrow's highs, and it's mostly middle 80s to around 90 degrees. I guess a lot's going to depend on how much sun we get and how, when the thunderstorms form and what the timing is with them. But the European, is kind of the AI yesterday was below the European operational, so I wanted to look at the operational run first. So a very warm to hot day tomorrow. Let's call upper 80s to maybe some lower 90s, I suppose, before any storms come in. We're going to cool off on Friday. The highs are going to be more like middle and upper 80s, except if you go north in the Hudson Valley and into Connecticut, it's more like low and mid 80s. Saturday, we're looking at, well, that's Sunday. Now, this is the European regular. Where's Saturday? Hang on a second. So on Saturday, again, it's upper 80s to some warm spots around 90. We back up to Friday. I may have read that wrong. So no, it's pretty much it's like middle to upper 80s on Friday. Saturday is mid
And
80s to near 90.
of course, with the big drop in the humidity, I think dew points on Friday will be in the upper 50s and maybe even a few mid 50s. So you have an 86 or an 88-degree temperature, mid to upper 50 dew points. That's comfortably warm. That's no problems weather-wise, but that's going to be your last comfortable day. Friday will for quite a few days to come.
Now Sunday, the operational European has upper 80s to mid 90s, 95 for New York City, 93 for Philadelphia, 93 for Trenton. Monday, it has 100 at Yonkers, 98 for New York City, 99 for Trenton and Philadelphia, and for Toms River, 97 for Brentwood, which is Islip, 93 for Poughkeepsie. Now let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday, it's got 102 at Yonkers, 104 in New York City, 102 in Trenton, 102 in Philadelphia, 104 Toms River. Wednesday, pretty much a repeat performance on Wednesday, although now it throws in 101 at Norwich, 102 in Providence. And Thursday, we're looking at mostly middle and upper 90s, except in New England, it's more like lower 90s. Now, that again is the regular operational European. Now, if we look at the AI, which I thought yesterday just had that, 100-degree highs just don't happen very often. So,
Indeed.
yeah, and certainly you start pushing numbers like 104 and 105, and the New York City record's 101. It does seem a bit of a stretch that it would get that high. I'm not saying it's not going to do it, but I look at the European AI numbers, which for Saturday are mostly middle and upper 80s. Sunday is upper 80s to some lower 90s. I mean, it's 94 at Trenton, 93 at Philadelphia, but only 89 in New York City, 87 at Yonkers, and 81 for Islip, Poughkeepsie 85, low 80s up in New England. Now we go to Monday. Monday, it's got 96 at Yonkers, 98 New York City, 101 in Trenton, 99 in Philadelphia. Tuesday, is 98 at Yonkers, 100 in New York City, 102 Trenton, 100 in Philadelphia, 101 in Toms River, 99 in Norwich, 100 at Hartford. And Wednesday, it's mid 90s to around 100. So they were a little bit lower on the AI. I think that if push comes to shove, I would probably lean toward those slightly lower numbers rather than the higher ones. But I'm not going to say that that it's impossible to get to some of those higher amounts. Just for laughs, Joe, take a look at the GFS for the same time frame. So tomorrow the GFS has upper 80s and lower 90s. It's got 93 at Yonkers, 91 in New York City, 90 at Poughkeepsie, 94 at Hartford, 92 in Worcester, 93 in Philadelphia. Friday is upper 80s to near 90 from New York City south and middle to upper 80s to the north. Saturday is, basically upper 80s to around or just over 90. Sunday is upper 80s and low 90s. Now we go to Monday. Now look at the GFS for Monday. Only has 88 for Yonkers in New York City, 89 for Bridgewater, 91 for Trenton, and 94 for Philadelphia.
That's like a 10 or 12 degree difference between the European and the GFS.
Right. Now we go to Tuesday. All right, Tuesday, it's low and mid 90s. No triple digits anywhere. Wednesday is, again, low and middle 90s. Thursday is mostly low to middle 90s again. So the GFS is a good 5 degrees lower than the European AI, and the European AI is a couple of degrees lower than the operational run of the European. So I mean, look, middle to upper 90s, I think seems doable. A lot is going to depend day to day on how much sun, that you get. If it's underneath that ridge, you would think that there would probably not be much in the way of cloud cover, and there's not going to be any thunderstorm development to speak of.
Well, the problem is that, like, for example, in the case of New York City, there has not been a 100-degree temperature since 2012. And if 100-degree temperatures were more frequent, then maybe we would have a better handle as to how the models would be handling this type of a situation. But it's been so very, very long. And the models aren't even the same. The GFS now is not the same GFS from 2012, nor is the
Right.
European. So many improvements and changes have occurred. So really, we'll be taking notes certainly as to how these models are going to handle the heat in the coming days to come, and maybe if we have another round of possible 100-degree temperatures, God willing, not this year or not this summer, but maybe a couple of summers from now, whatever, we'll have a better idea as to whether or not we would hit 100. But I think one thing, Joe, all of the models are settling in on is the fact that the peak of the heat, whatever we see in terms of the heat, will be at its crescendo, if you will, pinnacle on Tuesday and Wednesday. Those will be the two hottest days coming up out of the next 7. It will be Tuesday and Wednesday here in the New York City tri-state area. Also, when we were on television, and if we wanted to say something, we would normally have to go to either the executive producer or the news director and say, can I say this, or can I mention this person's name on that? And usually the answer or the remark would be, no, you can't. Just stick to the weather. But the Joe and Joe show is Joe's show and yours truly show, so we could do anything that we want. And I just got a notice here from my wife, Mrs. Rayo, who wants me to mention the fact. And yes, her cousin is on the chat board right now. Mrs. Hutch, Maria, she is there, but also watching the show, Joe. In fact, she cannot live without tuning us in every night. She has become addicted to the Joe and Joe show, and that is Renata's great aunt.
Oh,
And
nice.
and her great aunt, Tanta Herta, is going to have a birthday on Saturday, June 21st, which also happens to be the first full day of summer. Summer officially arrives on Friday evening at 10:46 Eastern Daylight Time, but Tanta Herta's birthday is going to be on Saturday, June 21st. She will be, God love her for this, 95 years old.
Oh,
95. And I got to tell you, Joe, when you reach 95, and I've known not a few people who have been, up there in the upper 80s or at or above 90 years old, they're slow, they move slowly. Tanahata, if you've ever had a chance to meet her, she is sharp as a tack, number one, and number two, she moves around very, very easily. Um, she's absolutely amazing. You wouldn't think that she was of that age. But her birthday is coming up. Now, she's not going to be watching tomorrow night because her son, Bernhard, and Bernhard's wife will be coming there to Rush, Kentucky, and will be there through this upcoming weekend to celebrate her birthday with her. So Renata said, would you please mention and say happy birthday to Tanahata tonight? We're doing that.
happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday. Yes, happy birthday indeed.
And the
Wish I
way you
could get it.
just, I was gonna say the way you describe her, Joe, it's like Tennessee Ernie Ford when, he said, you got quite a hitch in your get
Hitching yours
along.
get along. Absolutely, absolutely. And I wish I could somehow wave my hands and as a birthday present, hold off on that line of thunderstorms, which apparently is moving or bearing down on Rush, Kentucky right now, so that they won't have to deal with that. Let's hope that they don't have to deal with anything major. But and I wish I could cool things down for them. But in any case, happy birthday, enjoy it. 95, and just absolutely amazing. May we all have the opportunity of doing that, to getting to that age in our lifetimes. Anyway, on the screen you can see right now. I put up the Northeast again. And I wanted to mention or point out that that line or area of thunderstorm activity in Pennsylvania is moving to the east, but it looks like, Joe, especially the final few frames, it's petering out a bit. So I think that what may happen is if when it reaches us, probably right after midnight tonight, all we're going to get are the residual or the debris cloud cover. I don't think we'll be seeing any convection. That'll probably have been long since diminished and worn out by the time it reaches the tri-state area. But we'll have another shot tomorrow, especially again late tomorrow. I think most of the activity tomorrow in the immediate New York City metropolitan area will be waiting until after 6 o'clock to get to us. So I think we'll be pretty well home free of any nasty weather until about 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow. But after that, from about 6 o'clock on into the first part of tomorrow night, watch out. Thunderstorms and maybe some strong thunderstorms will be crossing through our area, and it would not surprise me if parts of the tri-state area went under some kind of a severe thunderstorm or maybe even a tornado watch tomorrow,
Oh,
late in the
we'll
day.
see. Um, Scott Briller sent a super chat to you. I'm sorry, not a super chat. Lou Arizio sent super chat tonight. I meant to say that earlier. Thank you, Lou Arizio, for doing that. Most appreciated. Um, Scott last night sent you today's Briller Jeopardy, but let's hold off until tomorrow because I'm kind of fading here. I've had a
Okay,
very long day. However, I will. He also sent this bit of information because we were talking about the highest low temperature in New York City, and
right.
it was 87. Okay, was the
Oh,
was the highest low temperature, and it was back on July 2nd, 1903.
oh my God.
Okay,
No,
so
no fans, no air conditioning. The people must have been dying then with that kind of. When was the date, Joe?
July 2nd, 1903,
Wow.
87 was when that record was set. So you're talking 122 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, it was an urban area, but it was not the same kind of urban area like it is now, New York City. Um,
I'd like to know what the dew point is. You better believe it. The dew point probably was not in the 50s with that kind of.
no, no. Brandon Doherty hits the tip jar, leaving for Italy, Slovenia, and Croatia tomorrow. Have a great trip. You doing a cruise? I'm kind of curious because um, that said, if you're doing a cruise, you're going to be doing the Adriatic side. I'm assuming, but if you're not doing a cruise, either way, it's enjoy your trip. I hope you're going to be gone for at least 10 days because a week is too short. If you're going to go to Italy, you want to do 10 days or 2 weeks at the bare minimum. All right, folks. So we'll save Briller Jeopardy for tomorrow, and we'll be back tomorrow night at our regular time, 7:35 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll see you then. Joe, have a great night. Everybody else, have a great night, and see you tomorrow.
We'll be here. Have
Bye
fun,
bye.
everyone.